In today's episode, my girlfriend Ellie will have 5 hours to make it as far as she can into Hollow Knight. She's had 10 hours to progress so far, so we're picking up where we left off at the end of round 2. And for the first time, you'll be able to hear and see some of our live commentary as she plays. It's gonna be a good one. Her death par for this episode will be 95 deaths. At the end of the video, we'll see if she was able to make it under par. Let's jump in and see how she did. When we last concluded, Ellie was taking a victory lap around Green Path after her victory over Hornet. As we jumped back in, she set her sights on where she wanted to head next.
Oh, I feel rusty.
It is.
I feel very rusty.
She started shaking off the rust, as it had been a few weeks since she touched the game. Ellie was fresh off of playing Celeste for our last video, so I was curious to see how that experience might affect her playing here. Certainly Celeste and Hollow Knight are very different games, but they share some foundational platforming DNA. The mechanics of said platforming are very different though, so I wasn't sure if her time climbing Celeste would be helpful or harmful here.
I guess I jumped straight across.
Now you
Did I
did
get some ability? I don't remember how to do it. I've pressed every button now.
I don't believe you.
Oh gosh.
What was that?
R2. I hadn't pressed it.
Alright, we got the dash going, we're back in business. Okay, maybe not quite back in business yet, but we're on our way. Despite its perils, Ellie set out to push deeper into Green Path, an area that appeared to still hold many more secrets.
Is this a bench? A bench! A bench, a bench, a bench, a bench! I found a bench!
The more benches, the better. She continued to poke around some unexplored pathways, but wasn't able to get too far. For example, this path was so dark and full of spikes that it seemed impossible to make any headway. It was beginning to feel like a new area may soon be in our future.
Maybe I just want to go straight down over here.
Okay.
I don't really want to get my souls. I don't care that much right now because I didn't have that many geo. This is kind of crazy down here. Whoa. Whoa. Fog Canyon. Is this like a new area?
We'd finally found a new area, Fog Canyon. This bubbly zone is home to a plethora of jellyfish. These guys may look peaceful, but they can pack quite a punch if you're not careful.
It's the map guy.
As soon as she heard his wholesome humming, Ellie beelined for the map maker. It was becoming increasingly evident so far that she was extremely reliant on the map. She'd often check it multiple times in the same room, intent on making sure that she was headed in the right direction. Now that she'd reached this new area, she no longer had a map, which immediately threw her into a sense of disorientation. Unfortunately, some kind of black barrier was preventing her from reaching him, so she had no choice but to turn around.
Oh. Bummer.
Platforming was a point of issue the last time we played Hollow Knight, and I feared we may be in for a similar situation this time around. Time would tell. Ellie began brushing shoulders with the jellyfish. The little guys didn't seem to be much of an issue, but the big fellows would be a bit more of a problem.
Oh shoot. So they explode?
It would appear that they explode.
She began trying to just skip past the jellyfish, but the big one's explosive cores track you, making avoidance a lot easier said than done.
I jumped!
It can be really daunting to encounter a new area. Not only do your surroundings look different, but you're presented with an entirely new set of enemies. Once you've gotten used to it, everything feels more manageable, but the introductory minutes can feel overwhelming. Ellie was not enjoying Fog Canyon.
There are other areas that I would prefer. Or you don't really know.
I mean, I think my understanding is that the game is more open now than it was. Once you fight Hornet, I think the game is supposed to open up. I can't really remember.
She began pushing as far as she could in hopes of finding a bench or another area. She was avoiding enemies at this point, which helped mitigate the risk of damage as the jellyfish don't really seem to care that you're there, but it also meant that Ellie wasn't accruing much geo.
I could store my geo. Like Minecraft, I can store my stuff. Okay.
The wholesome Millibell allows the player to store any geo acquired in the bank, meaning that they won't lose it upon death. I don't recall ever using this feature when I played the game, but it's a great feature to have nonetheless. Since Ellie didn't have any geo, she couldn't pay to establish an account, but she made a mental note to come back another time. Soon after this encounter, Ellie found the Queen's Station, which seemed like a promising discovery. From there, we found the fungal wastes.
Oh, Wilson, this is bad. This is awful. I have trypophobia. This is like one of the worst things I've ever seen. I'm not kidding. Oh my god. If this whole area is like this, I don't think I can ever do it.
Unfortunately, we had a new enemy to deal with, trypophobia, otherwise known as the fear of clusters of small holes or bumps. The fungal wastes are covered with spotted mushrooms, which was more than enough to make Ellie feel repulsed. I gotta admit, this was not on my Hollow Knight bingo card, and I wasn't sure if she'd be able to continue through the area.
Oh no. I can't go this way. Oh no, this is awful. This is like my number one phobia.
While back in the Queen Station, we found a bench and stag station, but she couldn't afford it at this point.
Oh, that looks spiky and scary. Can I wall jump in this?
Good question.
What does pogoing mean?
Ah yes, pogoing. Many of you notated the value of this move in the comments section of the last Hollow Knight episode. It wasn't a skill that Ellie had made use of yet, but was a bridge I knew we'd be crossing sooner or later. Despite its triggering nature, we ventured back into the fungal wastes to see what it contained.
I finally found him at least.
Yeah.
My short friend. That was a little uncalled for.
Mapmaker had been found, but we still didn't have the money, so Ellie set off to find it. Shortly after, Ellie found some bouncy mushrooms.
Ooh, that's fun. Okay, fungal waste, you're fun.
Oh.
But I'm unsettled. I still don't like it here.
Okay.
Is this pogoing? Am I pogoing? So I'm probably just not supposed to be able to jump over this, right? Wilson, what do I do? What? What is it? It's not letting me long press.
Okay.
Am I pogoing? Did I nail it? Did I figure it out? What?
There are moments sometimes when we're in the process of making one of these where I start to tingle inside.
Like, wanting to hurt me?
No, I just want to say something and I
Say
have
it.
to refrain.
You don't have to.
It makes me tingle inside.
Am I starting off correct? By just jumping on it?
Seems like a sensible starting point.
Circle does nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay.
Triangle, nothing.
Okay. Well, we struck upward, and we struck to the left, then we struck to the right.
We struck downward. Oh. Okay, that's not common sense to me, that's how I would go through this.
Eureka! It took a minute, but Ellie had pogoed. This little lesson provided a really great opportunity to reiterate the importance of experimentation. I think the biggest hang-up for Ellie remains a pervasive assumption that she's done all she can do to progress. In this situation, it didn't even cross her mind to attempt bouncing on the mushrooms with her attack. If not for my interjection, she would have walked away without understanding this mechanic. Now, I don't even think she needed to do this right now to progress, but surely there will be points in the game where pogoing is required. It always pays to try absolutely every move in your toolset. With that one out of the way, Ellie pushed deeper into the fungal wastes and continued to practice her pogoing skills.
What if I realize through this that I look really ugly when I'm focusing? If I realize
don't know
it's
what
an
we're gonna do
ugly
about
face
that.
I make.
A lot of the enemies in this area function fairly similarly to enemies of previous areas, so she was able to adapt to their movesets pretty easily.
Okay, why are you running away from me, bitch? Come back! Whore. Goddamn! What's the point of getting you back?
There you go.
Ooh. I like the way he dies.
Yeah.
Pogoing on an enemy is a lot more intense than harmless mushrooms, but Ellie pulled it off flawlessly.
My hands are sweating.
Oh boy.
It's that time now. We should make an oh boy meter. How many times do you say oh boy?
Quite a few, which is, I'm glad that I do.
Oh boy counter time.
She made it through a vertical gauntlet of explosive enemies and acquired enough geo to purchase the map of the Fungal Wastes. With map in hand, Ellie was able to venture further into the Fungal Wastes without the fear of getting lost. Soon enough, she made herself some new fungal friends.
Oh, I don't like that you're bad because you're so cute. Wow, you're cute. Look at him when he goes, wah. I know I said I didn't like the spots that felt like holes to me, but I am liking this area better now because of these little mushroomy
Oh, good.
guys.
Now that's growth. Out of nowhere, Ellie utilized Vengeful Spirit, an ability that had been conspicuously absent in the last video. This attack deals much more damage and enabled her to eliminate the mushroom enemy much more easily. I was curious to see if she continued to incorporate the attack into her moveset.
Oh, look how weird he looks dead. His
He
inside
does
just
look
flopped
very
over.
sad.
After unlocking a new shortcut, Ellie moved further upward and encountered another mini-boss. These big mushroom fellas really only have 2 attacks. They can spit some toxic sap of some kind, and they can furiously beat their heads against the ground, which really doesn't seem like an effective attack to me. They killed Ellie, but they didn't seem that difficult, so I felt she'd be able to take them out in fairly short order. She went back up to begin her rematch. She was committing her infamous running into enemies mistake, but still seemed to be heading for victory.
Oh, yay!
Wow.
Second try.
Well done.
I'm happy with that.
I think that was a really, I'm going to give you some tough love. I think that was a rough attempt, but you won, so it doesn't really matter. But I just think that was
a really good attempt.
Well, it is.
The win earned Ellie another charm notch, a mechanic that we hadn't dealt with in a long time. At this point, she only had 2 charms, so it didn't really matter in the moment, but ultimately, the more notches the better.
It just wasn't a clean attempt, I would say. Like that was a. I think you would, if you didn't get it on this attempt, you probably would have gotten it on the next one. Like that wasn't a very hard mini boss, but there's just room for improvement.
Oh, now that is simply not fair.
At this point, we'd made it so far into this area that our most recent bench was pretty far away from where we were trying to go. Given the trials along the way, it became evident that a new bench would be really helpful.
New least favorite part, flying things in this. Oh, he ran right into me. Oh my gosh.
Ooh, not good.
He targeted me. Look at him, waving his little arms. He targeted me. These are in a very unfortunate spot right now. Oh. I'm very distressed. I was trying to jump on him from the top and pogo. Did you notice that? That's what I was trying to do.
No, I did not. But now I do.
Ellie was averse to going up higher on the map because she didn't want to engage in more platforming. Understandable, but I wanted to encourage her to remain open to other paths.
It's okay, I hadn't healed no more.
Low moment of the night, sponsored by Axe Body Spray.
Oh my gosh. That's why I didn't want to go up.
I
told
understand.
you
I
didn't wanna
understand.
go
This
up.
is not easy.
This is a boring ass hour.
The vertical platforming was giving Ellie a lot of issues. The floaty feel of Hollow Knight seemed to be giving her too much leeway in the air, causing her to overshoot the platforms. In Celeste, your jumps land much more quickly, and your dash, a vital move that you can use all the time, stops your momentum once you use it. The movement is just a lot tighter, which seems to be much better suited to Ellie's platforming sensibilities.
Ooh, 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 ooh. Yay!
Finally, a fresh bench and leg eater. After this discovery, Ellie was able to keep scaling upward and all the way into the Forgotten Crossroads. I missed this dank cave. We determined how the 2 areas connected, but there wasn't a whole lot more that could be done.
Now I understand the connection.
Back in the fungal wastes, we met an interesting new friend named Cloth, and even ran into an old nemesis.
My nemesis. She's back. This can't be good.
Okay, last we left off, you had ventured downward toward the bottom of fungal wastes. And you died. I don't remember the specifics of your death, but that's where you were. It's not that you hadn't.
Probably fell into water. Let's be real.
Ellie was continuing to explore the fungal wastes, but more than any other area so far, she was really struggling to navigate it. So much of it was filled with this green acid that precise platforming was required just to move around. To make matters worse, pogoing on mushrooms was another core tenet of maneuvering, which was a move that Ellie was able to do, but still not consistently. I feared that a section of mushrooms plus the green acid could potentially create a maddening scenario for her.
I don't like where I'm at. Did I not say that I would hate this room? And I knew I would hate this room because it's tall.
I like the noise she makes. That was really violent.
Was I supposed to do it civilly?
No, I'm just saying the way he died, like his whole body just like dismembered itself.
Ellie was beginning to spar with these mantis enemies as she grew closer to the mantis village. They're pretty manageable, but attack very quickly, necessitating dashing to effectively dodge.
Fuck. 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 Oh, it's too hard to get back. I don't like this bench anymore.
Look at the map and think about the pathways. You're ultimately right now you're trying to get down to the bottom right. So you hate this route going from that bench, you know, S-ing your way down to the bottom right. So look at the rest of this map and think about another pathway that could potentially be less of a pain.
Where a bench could be, you mean?
Or where a bench is.
Getting back to her destination was becoming such a chore that the route felt like an enemy in itself. I encouraged Ellie to re-examine the route she could take to where she was trying to go. She hated that vertical room so much that another path to reach the bottom right of the map seemed like it would make things significantly less frustrating. There was a gate that she'd encountered earlier that was inaccessible, but now that she'd explored more of the fungal wastes, it seemed like she may be able to unlock it from the other side.
It's gonna be more deaths than Celeste.
It's definitely not going to be more deaths than Celeste. I don't know that we'll ever pass that. That might be the highest we ever get, honestly.
She re-rested at the bench in Queen Station, which thankfully meant that, for now at least, she wouldn't have to worry about the vertical room of platforming death.
It again feels like I'm gonna get a skill or something that's jumping walls. I know it. I'm walking right into him. I know I'm walking into him. I don't know how to avoid it right now.
Ellie was making it further down into the wastes than any attempt thus far, but was still struggling with the mantis enemies. That being said, each one only tended to inflict 3 hits of damage at most while also filling up Ellie's soul energy, meaning that she could make it through quite a few of them before dying.
Mantis village. Oh, these are mantises. I see this now.
She'd made it to the mantis village and even managed to unlock a gate, but died shortly thereafter.
Okay, well, so I really gotta figure out how to beat those boys without getting hit.
Well, I feel like not walking into the enemy is something that you can apply to every enemy.
Put that in quotes across the screen. Wow. Okay.
Despite her difficulties, Ellie managed to find the new bench and have a nice rest. This is a good thing, in theory, but, well, we'll see what happens. She traveled further down and discovered a new charm that enables a faster rate of dashing and the ability to dash downwards. It's a handy item to have, but Ellie didn't feel it was worth using if it meant deselecting another one of the charms that she already had equipped. Soon after, we ran into a new problem. Ellie was kinda stuck.
Okay, I'm feeling rejuvenated. I don't know about you.
Speak for yourself. I feel the same.
Oh.
Ellie was finding herself in a very sticky situation. She needed to pogo off of some mushrooms to get out of the depths of the fungal wastes, but let me tell you, it was easier said than done.
Man, I really do struggle with this. Jones. I don't want to cry. I don't like platforming. I want to cry. How do I get up here? How am I more pissed off at a mushroom than Hornet? That was stupid. I was just trying to see how high I could jump. My head itched.
Finally, after about 20 minutes, Ellie emerged out of the hole and back into the mantis village. Again, despite struggling with dodging these enemies, she was doing a good job of getting through them without losing too much health. They provided her with enough soul energy to recover that she was able to keep her health at a comfortably high level.
He was a little hidden boy. He was trying to hide. Sneak attack.
Soon enough, she found a new ability.
Oh, okay, that's what I was talking about needing. I was saying I thought I needed that skill before I could do some places.
Ellie had acquired the Mantis Claw, aka the wall jump. No Metroidvania is complete without a wall jump, the timeless ability that enables the player to jump between walls to reach heights previously thought impossible. In Hollow Knight, the ability also allows you to continue jumping up a single wall, affording the player even more navigational freedom. It's an amazing tool that completely changes the game. Of course, with such a paradigm shift also comes a hefty learning curve.
That feels like luck to have gotten that.
Okay, well, we want to get to a place where it doesn't feel like luck anymore.
I can't. Can you tell me what direction I'm supposed to be pointing this?
Well, just try different directions.
I have.
I wasn't certain that she'd be able to nail it every single time, but she was starting to get it down. Now, Ellie would be able to access a plethora of areas she couldn't previously, even if she were to backtrack to old levels. She jumped out of the Mantis village through a path that was only accessible now that she possessed the Mantis Claw. This room was a trial by fire of sorts. The only way to move through here would be to wall jump, so hopefully Ellie had the mechanic down enough to proceed. It wasn't flawless, but she managed to get out and ended up back in an earlier section of the fungal wastes.
This was an area I couldn't do before, I remember now. But now I can do these. That was really good dodging of that guy.
That was.
I feel really good about that.
We ended up back at the room where Hornet had fled earlier that was previously impassable. Because she was now able to wall jump, we had a new path to take, but in this instance, falling meant death by green acid, raising the stakes. She gave it a few attempts, but once she was down to 1 unit of health, she decided it wasn't worth the risk. Unfortunately, an enemy killed her a few minutes later, sending her back down into the hole of death. Getting out of here was so difficult for Ellie the first time that I worried it would be just as laborious for her to do again.
Oh, I'm gonna kill something. I don't know what yet. Ugh! Oh, now that was just cruel!
Okay. How are you feeling going into this 5th hour?
I'm not feeling amazing, but I'm not feeling burnt out, so there's that. I don't feel frustrated right now, yet.
At this point, we just needed to get out of this pit.
It's just crazy to me how hard it is for me to get out of this area. It's like pissing me off.
Yeah, I'm curious if other people will have similar experiences to you with this section.
I know I'm walking into him, but I still don't feel like I figured out how to do that, which makes me think, can I say I think it's poorly designed?
You can't say that, yes.
Suspecting that she could travel further downward into Mantis Village, Ellie went back over to check. She could see light peeking through a crack in the floor, but wasn't able to figure out how to access it. Eventually, she left and headed back up to the greater fungal wastes. She found a new room that was only accessible now that she had the wall jump, but traversing it meant pogoing over some more green acid. She fled in an attempt to prevent losing all her lives, but died at the hands of a mushroom shortly thereafter. It was back to the hole. Ellie was definitely getting better at escaping, but she decided to head back to the Queen Station bench to avoid having to climb back out anymore. This time, she took a different path out.
I'm not having a good time this time. I don't know why, but I'm not having a good time as much.
We were witnessing a really interesting juxtaposition. Ellie was more effective in combat than at any point so far, but navigation was becoming so difficult for her that she was struggling to make any headway. These environmental struggles were more frustrating for her than any boss fight that she'd overcome.
I know this was boring. I know this was so boring. Apologies to all the viewers. This was a boring episode. It was boring. Ellie was boring. It wasn't fun like I usually am.
Back in Queen Station, Ellie decided to tackle this little platforming challenge now that she could wall jump. The reward was sweet, but it's a challenging section.
Oh, this is stressful.
Ooh.
Frick! It's crazy how you can't even get close to them. Also crazy how quickly I give up, because I'm probably not going to go back there right now. Oh! It takes you all the way back! It doesn't even keep me up on that second platform, though. That's what I was expecting.
She decided to take a break and head back into the wastes. Ellie retried this room with the green acid and managed to make it through. Unfortunately, the next room was more of the same and even more difficult. She succumbed to the acid and decided to give this spiky wall section one more try.
This is scary. This part is real scary.
Good job. Wow, well done.
Thank you.
First
I
try.
just needed time away. I gotta collect 3 more.
Okay.
Okay. I'm proud of myself for doing that.
Yeah, that was really good.
Fatigued of the fungus, we headed back to Fog Canyon. I'm sure there were probably some productive things to do here, but Ellie was struggling to find them and was still taking a lot of damage from the jellyfish.
This has been the hardest 5 hours for me so far. That's made me feel really burnt out. It's not that I didn't enjoy it this time, because I still really like the game, but I think this is the most frustrated I've been with this game. Oh, I'm over a lot of aspects of this right now, but they just feel insurmountable. a lot of the game, or a lot of this section felt insurmountable.
Ellie died 55 times during this session with Hollow Knight, which is well under par. She's getting better, but so too is the game getting harder. While we slay these jellyfish, why not check out another episode of the show? And if you enjoyed this episode, giving it a like helps it spread to more people. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. We'll see you next time.